Hey, it's Todd with Defense and Safety, and I've got a knife review for you. The Brous Reloader. This is a nice knife. I should probably get some other knives out to compare it to because it's an interesting size, and I think this is probably a good knife to compare it to, the Zero Tolerance. As you can see here, it's a pretty big knife from the thickness standpoint. It's not quite as long handle-wise and blade-wise. Weight-wise, probably similar. This thing rockets out. What I really love about this knife is the grind on this blade. It is kind of like, to me, the ultimate. And here's why. One, you get a great rounded tip, so it's great for typical EDC tasks. It's not necessarily a flat tanto; it's similar in a tanto. You get this recurve, which really is not overly dramatic in the sense that it would be hard to sharpen, but you get this little point here, which when you're doing cuts this way, this area of the knife can really bite in and pull across. You can see it's basically got four angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a hollow grind. This is like a convex grind. I mean, it literally, it's going, like this. And then the swedge is just a swedge. You can see it's got the Brous blades on the top. It's a D2 steel. It seems to work exclusively in D2. This is kind of a bead blast or smoothed out G10, so it doesn't it's not grippy, but you can see the jimping here is very aggressive. It's also with the G2 backspacer here in the gear pattern, and on the inside here, this thing just, I mean, it locks in, and I love this cutout here because it does allow you to just open the knife nice and smooth and easily. I mean, you can obviously just pop it open that way. The detent is good. I can get it to come out, but it's not gonna come out otherwise. I mean, you gotta have the right flick. The pocket clip is just a little slot on each side, and it goes down, and then the screw holds it in. So you can switch it to left or right hand carry. It is a deep carry pocket clip, which I'm not a fan of deep carry pocket clips, mainly because they're harder to get out of your pocket. I'm not really worried about concealing the knife, and I'm not a fan. I think it looks great on this knife. It's definitely perfect from aesthetics and a design point. Just for me, I don't know what it is. I have a really hard time getting this back out of my pocket. It's on bearings, and you can see the blade stock is very thick. I'll compare it to the Zero Tolerance again just to see what the blade stocks look like. It's definitely thicker, noticeably thicker. Now this has a swedge on top, so you really got to compare it right here, but you can see the difference. Definitely thicker, but and it's surprising how thick this is. I think when I saw the videos, I don't know why, this knife kind of feels big and small at the same time. In your hand, it feels small, but when you look at it, I mean, you've got a lot of knife in your hand. And I love the angle that this creates. You can see when you're holding the knife, going back with the Zero Tolerance, which is kind of more of a traditional angle. When you're holding the knife, you have to cant your, wrist forward. Otherwise, you're holding it like this. With this, when you're holding it, you can see you're much more forward. This thing feels really badass in your hand. You can see the detent right there, the blades right there. Very solid construction. He's got titanium liner and liner lock and the other liner. It's just, like I said, super smooth, super badass. I really like this knife. I love the design. I think The one thing about Jason is, you know, there's so many knife makers out there, and everyone has their own style, and Jason really has a style that comes across in his knives that I don't necessarily see. I mean, this is a collaboration, so he did work with another knife maker to rework one of his designs, and I mean, it's it's a really cool knife. I mean, this is one of those knives you could say, you know, if you only owned one knife, this could do it all. It's got a nice heavy thick tip for penetrating cuts. It's got a nice, you know, round tip here for kind of EDC use, also getting that edge to cut first. And if you're cutting across, which, you know, depending on if you're using, I mean, I don't want to use a knife for defensive purposes, but if you had to, there's two schools of thought. One is stabbing, the other is cutting. And cutting will cut across muscle or tendons and pretty much disable limbs. And this, you would think, would just be a very aggressive blade for that. You know, the other design that comes to mind is the... Sorry, I'm looking for a knife and the light in my safe went out. I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. The CQC-15, which has also got that recurve, but this is a little bit more dramatic, but the same kind of design that you're going to get across that slash. So this is probably another good knife to compare it to, size-wise. It's a little shorter still, but you know, you're a little angled. I'm sure if you flatten this knife out, it'd probably be the exact same length. They're very close. But you can see from the blade, it's obviously coming up sooner, but the tip is, you know, not losing much. Let's see, another knife to maybe compare it to, a Sebenza. That'd be a good comparison for some people. You can see it's about the same length as a Sebenza there. That's a good comparison. But you can see because of the curve, it's thicker, right? You know, it just completely hides the Sebenza. But a very nice design aesthetic. Jason really has a great touch. I really like his designs. And I'll probably pick up his other flipper that he just came out with. It's all carbon fiber. So look forward to a review on that. But all in all, this is an awesome blade, really. Oh, and really sharp. Really, really sharp out of the box. I stropped it, but it didn't really need it. Most of the time when you get a factory knife, it's usually pretty sharp, you know, and if you strop it, it always feels to me like twice as sharp. This probably maybe made it feel 50% sharper. I mean, that knife is really sharp. All right, well, thanks for watching.